Are you a newer fish keeper getting into the hobby and confused with all the different chemicals that you think you need for your aquarium? Stay tuned to learn more. Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Zenzo and you're watching Tazawa Tanks. So I thought I would film a video today and talk a little bit about chemicals, when you need them, why you need them, and maybe tell you that you don't need as many as you think you need. This is actually the second take of the video. I filmed another one and I felt it was a little too teachy preachy, so I scrapped that one, deleted it. I'm going to refilm and kind of simplify it for you guys. So again, this is kind of aimed towards that newer fish keeper, someone that hasn't been in the hobby very long, and you're starting to do your research, understanding kind of what you need to take care of your aquarium, and maybe you're getting a lot of information from various sources that are telling you what you need or what you don't need, and I'm going to give you my take on it. So when it comes to chemicals, there are so many different types of chemicals that we can buy and use in our aquariums. Some of those are absolutely necessary, and some maybe not so much, and then kind of a few in between. So there are chemicals that help with taking out chlorine and chloramine out of the water. There are chemicals that help condition the water and make it a little bit more tolerable for fish. There are bacteria that you can add. There are medications that you can buy. There are test kits that you can use to test your water, fertilizers for your reef and your freshwater tanks, buffers, salts, and a bunch of other additives that you can use to change the condition of the water and also help with the filtration. So again, when it comes to chemicals, there are so many different types out there that do so many different things, and it can be quite confusing for people that are getting into the hobby or have been in the hobby for a short amount of time, kind of understanding where to go, what to do, and what to look for. The first thing that I will tell you, and you're probably doing it right now because you're watching this video, and that is to do your research. What that means is to really understand the type of aquarium that you have and the conditions that you have in your area as far as your water qualities, and then understand what is needed to actually take care of your fish. For the newer fish keeper, I'm going to really keep it simple and just focus on a couple of things that I think you must have, and then I'll talk about some of the other chemicals that you may consider purchasing in the future that may help things go better. So the first thing that you absolutely need is you're going to need some type of dechlorinator to remove chlorine or chloramine from your water supply. Most people that have aquariums are getting water from the tap. Very few fish keepers, especially new fish keepers, have access to reverse osmosis water, and equally very few people have access to well water that isn't contaminated with heavy metals, fertilizers, or chlorine. Having some type of chlorine remover or some type of water conditioner that does detoxify chlorine and chloramine is going to be critical in you keeping fish. The next thing that is a must-have, and this is absolutely no exception as well, and that is some type of test kit. Test kits come in various forms. You can buy the little strips where you take a little strip of paper and dip it in water and look at the color, and it will tell you what's going on with the water. There are also other test kits that are liquid where you'll add drops of a certain type of liquid chemical into a vial of water from your aquarium, and it will also give you a reading. Understanding what's going on in your tank and at different times is really important, and a test kit will help you with that. Another thing that I would recommend every fish keeper have is to have a few different medications. I'm not going to get into what types of medications you're going to need for different types of conditions, but there are a few medications that are really basic that you should consider having. One of the meds that you should consider having is something to combat ick. Ick is a parasite that is easily visible on the scales, the outer scales and fins of fish. Having some type of ick medication will really help you in combating that when it does arise. Another thing that you should consider having is some type of antibacterial medication. So when your fish does have an injury, some kind of lesion, you can treat for that and help your fish heal. Lastly, you'd want to look into some type of medication that's going to help with removing internal parasites. I happen to use API General Cure. This is a general medication that does help to eliminate a lot of internal parasites that our fish come in contact with. So those are the three categories of chemicals that I would consider important for a fish keeper to have. Something to remove chlorine or chloramine, something to test your water, and something to treat the fish if they become ill. In addition to those chemicals, you could also consider getting some different salts for your aquarium, and there are a whole bunch of different kinds for different purposes. Sometimes you'll have a cichlid salt, you might use an aquarium salt. Obviously, if you have a saltwater tank, you're going to use marine salt. And in some cases, you might have to keep some buffers on hand so that you can buffer your water if you have certain fish that you're keeping that are very sensitive to a certain pH level. Other things that you're going to come into contact with as you're kind of getting deeper into the hobby are different chemicals that do different things. Some of the chemicals are used to clarify water. It might be an algae issue, it might be a bacteria issue, it might be helping to remove tannins from the water. Other things that you might see from time to time are liquid bacteria. So this is bacteria in a bottle, and these are designed to help a new aquarium that hasn't gone through the nitrogen cycle, kind of give it a kickstart and help it get going. While I do use those from time to time in customer aquariums, and I have used them in the past, my recommendation is not to rely on those bottled bacteria and really let your tank go through the nitrogen cycle. Other chemicals are going to help you with the pH level, either increasing the pH or decreasing the pH depending on what you need and where you are. My recommendation would be not to chase pH, but to have a real consistent pH level in your aquarium. As you can see next to me, there are a whole bunch of different chemicals up here that do different things, and they are needed at different times. But what I want to share with you is it's really not necessary to have a bunch of different chemicals and have a full medicine cabinet or a box under your fish tank that has 25 different bottles that do a whole bunch of different things. Really just keep it simple again and just focus on making sure you have good water quality and being able to test for it, and then being able to treat your fish if they do get ill or sick. This was just a short video to kind of really give you a high level understanding on some of the basics of chemicals, and hopefully you don't feel overwhelmed when you go to the store or you hear someone telling you about all the different chemicals that you need, because really if you keep it simple and just focus on those few items that I talked about, you should be just fine. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd love to read down below in the comments what type of chemicals you keep for your fish tanks. That's all I had for now. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.